Hello PYC, this is Maricelle Polito for Friday Love Day, bringing to you a dose of healthy attitude towards singleness. Did you notice that in the church we have seminars regarding love, courtship, and marriage, but you seldom or you'd never even hear of talks regarding singleness? And for me personally, that is problematic. Because I see a lot of single people in the church. They're not in any relationships. They are not married. And yet, there is seemingly nothing that addresses their particular need at this time. We do not know what struggles these single people are going through. And that is why we came up with this topic here, so that it may open up healthy conversations regarding this topic, and we may have something to offer to these young people that will assist them in this stage of their lives. Because we have noticed, even in our past conferences, that young people always flock to seminars regarding relationships, regarding love, courtship, and marriage. And to not tackle this, we are doing a disservice to this demographic in the church. We are neglecting a need. Being single, it is not an easy place to be, simply because it is not the norm in our society. At a certain age, you're expected to be married, and when you are not, people will look at you as if there's something wrong with you. And you will also be asked questions left and right. You will be pestered with questions such as, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a girlfriend now? When are you getting married? Are you not getting married? Why don't you want to get married? How do you address these situations in a healthy manner, in a Christian manner, that you're not being offensive to people and you're being true to yourself? One important question that we need to ask ourselves this time is, what exactly is our attitude towards singleness? Whether you are married or single, I believe that we need to examine what our attitude is regarding singleness. Like, for example, you're a teen watching this. Have you ever considered the possibility that you're in your mid-30s, you are not in any relationship, you have no prospects in the horizon, and it seems as if maybe marriage is not in God's plan for you? How would you feel about that? What if you're in your 20s and it's the same situation? You are not in any relationship. What if God is not going to gift you with marriage? How do you feel about that? Or if you're in your 30s and upwards, you're in the same situation, how do you feel about the possibility that you will never ever get married your whole life? It's a scary prospect. But having a healthy attitude towards singleness will actually settle us down in a huge way and will enable us to live a healthy life with a healthy approach to life when we settle this. That's why we're tackling this. I have since noticed that our attitude towards singleness is closely related to our attitude towards marriage. And this attitude spectrum ranges from being too closed off towards the idea of marriage or being too open. And they're on both extremes, and I don't think they're healthy in any way. Because when you're too closed off to the possibility of marriage, it speaks so much of self-dependence, self-reliance, self-protection. It speaks so much of fear. That's why you don't want to get involved in the kind of relationships. And it's like, it also discounts the possibility. It's like you're discounting the possibility of God partnering you with somebody who may help you grow into the person that He wants you to become. On the other hand, when you're too open, too interested in marriage, you're also wasting the present opportunities. You're neglecting present opportunities for growth as a person. This group of people, their tendency is to say, I need to get married by hook or by crook. If I don't get married, it's like a death sentence. It is so tragic. They cannot consider any other possibility besides marriage. And I also believe that this stems out of fear as well. Now, this is not to judge anybody, but I believe that these kind of unhealthy attitudes spring so much out of our experiences. I do not know what your background may have been, but it's largely because of our past traumas, what we have experienced in our family lives. That is why we're like this. But the point is that there must be a healthy attitude, a healthy approach towards singleness, where you're not becoming hard of heart, and you're also not making marriage the goal of your life. And this is a point that we need to remember. Marriage is not the goal of life. When Jesus will come, He will not be asking you, did you get married? How many men have you married? How many women have you married? It's character development that God is after. And mind you, my friends, character development can happen whether you're single or whether you're married. Like for me, I have found out that in God's good plan, He has allowed me to be single because He knows that it is here that my character is going to be better developed. He has other plans for other people. He may have other plans for other people. Even for myself, I do not even know what His future plans for me are. But the important thing is that we remember that marriage is not the goal of our lives. Character development is. Our sanctification is what the Lord is after, a readiness for translation to heaven. Take note of these two thoughts. First one, marriage is not guaranteed. When you're young, you're imagining that somewhere along the way, you're eventually going to get married. But the reality is that a lot of people, they just die and without ever getting married. And to ignore this fact, to not accept this reality is somehow quite insane, to be honest. And so let us remember this point. Marriage is not guaranteed. I love this encouraging thought from Elizabeth Elliot. She's one of my favorite authors. She said this: if you are single today, the portion assigned to you for today is singleness. It is God's gift. Singleness ought not to be viewed as a problem, nor marriage as a right. God in His wisdom and love grants either as a gift. And so to expect that, God owes you that marriage because it's your right to get married, it is not healthy. Because eventually Satan will lead you into getting disappointed with God for not fulfilling, for not giving what you thought was rightfully yours, when in fact it is not really yours, because it is not guaranteed. That's not the reality of life. The second point is that your identity, your worth is not found in your civil status or your relationship status. Our identity must be founded on the Lord. It must be based on the fact that you were created, we are created in His image, we were created for His purposes, we were redeemed, we are redeemed by His blood, His precious blood on the cross. And this point I would like to emphasize, because too often we neglect to appreciate the sacrifice that Jesus offered on our behalf. When you think about it, He did not have to leave heaven in order to redeem us. He didn't have to do that, but He had a choice to do it or not. But because He considers us too precious to waste, He does not want us to be lost for eternity. He came down on earth, died on our behalf so that we may have a chance of spending eternity with Him. That, to me, is the basis of my identity, the basis of my worth. I am so precious in His sight. And because He does that, I have to consider myself precious as well. And that should be the basis of our identity and our self-worth. Let me share to you this wonderful quote from Dr. James Kennedy. He says, I would urge you to identify yourself not as a single or as a married, but as a believer in Jesus Christ who is completely dedicated and consecrated to Him, who does not have one foot in the church and one foot in the world, but whose heart is fixed with a single eye upon Christ. I would urge you to serve Him and leave the outcome to the Lord instead of bemoaning your singleness or your married state and making a pitiful exhibition of yourself and contributing to the false stereotypes. God will bless your life. Whatever plan He has for you, He will make it a blessing to you. May God indeed make you either as a single person or as a married person, one who is consecrated to Him and who is trusting Him for all things. Isn't that encouraging? This sums up the healthy attitude that we're supposed to have towards singleness. God is our Father in heaven. He knows what is best for us. We do not have to take the reins of control of our lives. We can trust Him who loves us infinitely. And that is why let's hear this counsel from Paul coming from Romans 12 verses 1 and 2 when he said, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, for this is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and perfect will of God. Our minds need to be conformed to God, to God's thoughts, to God's will. Our minds need to be transformed, needs to be renewed, so that we will have a healthy attitude. We owe it to the Lord who loves us so much and who desires our good. He wants us to have a healthy attitude towards singleness and also towards marriage. And when we do this, we will have more purposeful lives, happier lives, joyful lives while we are in this season of singleness. And that is my prayer for each one of you, especially for you singles who are watching this. Please leave a comment below and share your tips on having a healthy attitude towards singleness. So that's all for today. And stay tuned for more of the PYC COVID-19 quarantine series. Watch anytime but not anywhere.
Tomorrow and Saturday, God's Day. It's been a while that we haven't seen our little girls and boys in the church due to the quarantine rules, and for sure, they also miss their friends. That's why our Sabbath episode is specially created for them. Calling all the mommies and daddies to follow our social media accounts now, because our adorable storyteller is excited to virtually meet your kids. So stay tuned for more episodes of the PYC COVID-19 quarantine series. Watch anytime but not anywhere.